All right, so this is what the picture looks like at the moment. The Bharatiya Janata Party is all set to form the next government, it appears, in Delhi after having been out of power for 27 years. The Aam Aadmi Party, which had come with the intention of changing the politics in India, finds itself on a very sticky wicket. For the first time in the last 10-11 years, the Aam Aadmi Party looks like it is going to be out of power. The BJP at this moment is leading in 48 seats. The Aam Aadmi Party is down to 22. The Congress, of course, it hasn't moved from zero. This is what the picture looks like at this moment. And there are some big names within the Aam Aadmi Party, all of whom appear to be either losing or have lost. Manish Sisodia has conceded the election. Chief Minister Atishi is trailing from the Kalkaji seat. And the big face of Arvind Kejriwal, according to reports that are coming in, he is of course trailing and could be on the verge of losing from his seat. This is what the scene looks like. The biggest faces of the Aam Aadmi Party either trailing or have lost the election. And we have with us senior journalist Nalini Singh, who's joining us on this broadcast. Ms. Singh, just before we went into the break, we were talking about how the politics of New Delhi had been changed by the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party. But the fact is, after having been in power for about 10 plus years, the people of Delhi seem not very convinced with the agenda of the Aam Aadmi Party and have now swerved towards the Bharatiya Janata Party. Are we witnessing a tectonic shift in terms of how politics in Delhi is going to be run from here on?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we already had a 1.25 engine central government, Sarkar government in Delhi, because this is the seat of power. So you had the police, the seat where the foreigners land, the G20 happens. You have the Bharat Mandapam, you have Republic Day, you have Independence Day. So we already had. And of course, the police and there are several other departments which are under the central government. So the Aam Aadmi Party tried to make the 0.75 Sarkar that it had, the government that it had, it wanted to make that the engine of political change by regional parties in the country. Actually, the Aam Aadmi Party was the only one besides BJP and the Congress that had governments in 2 states, more than 2 states.
Right.
And Aam Aadmi Party was the only one. So now it has lost that status. I don't know what happens to its national party status. But what really we witness now is that it was, and we should also acknowledge this and give it its little bit of a due place, that it was a bit of a David versus Goliath battle.
Mm-hmm.
We had a very powerful government with a very charismatic leader, with many charismatic leaders. And also we had the RSS, which targeted certain areas assiduously in Delhi this time. And so therefore, I think that what we should be watching now is the BJP realizes that just having Mr. Modi on the card, and they didn't really have him too much up front, but Mr. Modi plus the BJP plus the RSS is the winning machinery. And therefore, the dynamic between BJP and RSS at an internal level is also something to be watched. I have said on other channels that I think that now the BJP president, the new one, will be somebody whom the RSS endorses in a very big way. The second thing is that the Aam Aadmi Party blew it up. In ways that are paradoxically understandable. Because Aam Aadmi Party, as elections, as politics happen in India now, and as the elections happen in India now, you need an enormous amount of money. Aam Aadmi Party, whether they had personal corruption, that we will see soon, but in terms of being a party and not having access to too many electoral bonds, for instance, or too many other resources in terms of sheer money. They have got the excise scam on something that they have to contend with. And that, I think, Shivan, then leads you to the next thing, that if a party has many of its leaders in jail for extended periods of time, how do we expect that party to actually canvass and to campaign with the stigma of having excise scam plus the absence because they're in jail, etc.
You know, it's interesting, Ms. Nalini Singh, if I can butt in there, it's interesting that you're pointing out some of these things that went wrong for the Aam Aadmi Party. So would it be in that case correct to say that it is an election that Aam Aadmi Party ended up losing by actually creating problems of its own image rather than the Bharatiya Janata Party having done something right to win this election?
I would say that, let me put it this way, that the wins in Haryana and Maharashtra by the BJP, and they're also very persuasive and emphatic wins, when everybody, for instance, in Haryana thought that the Congress will win, but the BJP won. So this now has a glow which it sends to Delhi, Maharashtra, that this is the party that is almost invincible.
Right.
And people get very swayed by a party that other people in other parts of the country are electing, so it must be doing something right. This is not to say that BJP is not doing something right per se,
right.
But neither is it right to say that the Aam Aadmi Party was not doing a few things right per se. Their schools, for instance, there really is a dramatic improvement in the standard of education in those schools and the content, the Mohalla clinics. There were a few things like that. But on the other hand, the BJP has, brought in, besides what it might have done earlier, but in the last 30 days, there was an enormous course correction. Just take a look at the exemption of a tax or raising the tax limit to 12 lakh rupees. Now that, of course, immediately you are putting in money into the pockets of the middle class. And, before the break, I was saying...
we'll talk about each one of those issues and as to how the politics of Delhi will, of course, change because of these elections. But let's listen in to the soundbite that's come in from Manish Sisodia, who's just conceded the election. Let's listen in.
का चुनाव हम सब कार्यकर्ताओं ने मिलकर बहुत मेहनत से लड़ा। जंगपुरा विधानसभा के लोगों ने भी बहुत प्यार मोहब्बत सम्मान दिया, लेकिन 600 वोट से लगभग 600 वोट से उसमें हम पीछे रह गए। तो मैं जो कैंडिडेट जीते हैं उनको बधाई देता हूं और उम्मीद करता हूं कि जंगपुरा की समस्याओं को वो हल करेंगे, जंगपुरा के लोगों की जितनी भी चीजें हैं उनको हल करेंगे। बाकी तो अब
All right, so that was Manish Sisodia there conceding the election that he was contesting from Jangpura. The last time round he fought from Patparganj. He managed to barely scrape through, winning with a pretty slender margin. Ms. Singh, if I can bring you in here, the fact that some of the biggest faces of the Aam Aadmi Party, including the likes of Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, the sitting Chief Minister Atashi, either have lost or are on the verge of losing the election. What does it mean for the future of the Aam Aadmi Party, which about a decade ago was the party that was on the ascendant? Has the Aam Aadmi Party peaked?
Well, it's certainly a crushing moment for a startup, a political startup such as the Aam Aadmi Party. And so are we to believe that it only takes about 12 to 14 years for a party to get crushed by the existing behemoth of the BJP, or even as an ancient 137-year-old party like the Congress Party? This is something to be thinking about. Although, of course, we have a huge number of strong regional parties in the country still, but this is also something to watch. And I think that the Aam Aadmi Party is now it's the leaders that we did not hear too much about, but they were very, very associated with the grassroots. Gopal Rai, for instance, is somebody who who is thought of as very well. I'm not sure. I've not been able to see the latest results, but maybe you can tell me if Gopal Rai is leading. But the ones who were very prominent on the media, those leaders Certainly not. So I think now the emphasis and the focus of the Aam Aadmi Party is not only going to be looking at themselves an internal introspection, but it will shift to Punjab.
Right.
How to save Punjab? And because BJP is marching slowly towards, or maybe rapidly, towards Punjab also.
Right.
But one thing that I can also surmise from the results over here, the Purvanchalis, the people who have come from the eastern parts of the country, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, etc., that the BJP has won handsomely in those areas of Delhi where these people, Purvanchalis, are settled. This is going to have an immediate and a decisive impact, I think, on the Bihar elections later this year, because messages go to and fro.
Right.
And so this is going to, as much as the Punjab is vulnerable to what is happening to the Aam Aadmi Party here, so Bihar is fortified by how the Purvanchalis have voted in Delhi this time, meaning regionally.
That's an interesting observation that you've made, because the Bihar population that has migrated to Delhi forms a big chunk of the population of Delhi, and what you're suggesting is that this is something that can also happen in the actual election in Bihar, and the budget had a number of policy measures and announcements that were made in the budget that were specifically meant for the state of Bihar as well. So a lot of very interesting things are happening. But Mr. Singh, if I can, draw your attention to this very crucial aspect of how Delhi's politics have been changed by the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party. Arvind Kejriwal showed himself as a common man. The party symbol was a jhadu. He said that he is the son of Delhi who is taking on the sons of the former chief ministers of Delhi. But he, it appears, is on the verge of losing to Parvesh Singh Verma if he's not already lost the election. So what does it mean for Arvind Kejriwal, brand Arvind Kejriwal? How much of a beating does it take?
You mentioned Parvesh Singh Verma, so allow me just a little bit of a comment. We in journalism must ask how Parvesh Verma's assets increased by 6 to 7 times in 5 years. So I'm sure that as a responsible leader, he's going to let us in. These are the declared assets.
Right.
Now, in terms of the Aam Aadmi Party, its birth, the birthplace is Delhi, the Ram Leela grounds, where it went on the offensive on the India against corruption and unseated the Congress government at the center. From 2011 to 2014, it was a relentless crusade against corruption, and of course the other opposition parties joined in. Now,
right.
So therefore Congress was hurting, and Congress, I'm not surprised that the Congress thought that the Aam Aadmi Party has pulled in its votes. So I would imagine that it's quite happy with the Aam Aadmi Party's spectacular loss today. So in terms of what happens to the politics of Delhi, it becomes not bipolar just now, because the Congress Party has not even got one seat. The Aam Aadmi Party, from what I noticed just now from your screen, is at 20?
The Aam Aadmi Party is at 22, the BJP is at 48, the Congress is at 0, and Gopal Rai, I'm told, is winning his seat of Babarpur.
Yeah, so I'm not at all surprised by Gopal Rai and Babarpur. But in terms of now, it becomes, one can say that the Aam Aadmi Party, with all the talent for disruption, positive disruption also, and also negative, that it will be a strong opposition. After all, it's not 8 MLAs that the BJP could muster, and they also were able to present a very good, solid opposition wall to many of these things. But I think, Shivan, the main thing that I notice is that now the obstruction from the Honorable Lieutenant Governor is going to go away. The bureaucracy that stonewalled many of the programs and the requests or the orders of the Aam Aadmi Party, that is going to change. So with the Lieutenant Governor the bureaucrats, the ruling party, all of the same hue. I think that things should work very fast. And if they don't, then the Delhi citizen, the Delhi voter will sit up again.
Right.
And find out why now that you have 2.25 engine Sarkar, because we already had 1 quarter earlier.
Right.
So why that is not delivering? So I think the BJP will, but they are an organized party. They will deliver.
Right.
And they will. But may I just say, if you'll allow me, just
Go
one
ahead.
thing. You know, the BJP has huge advertisements this morning. I haven't had the time to read it, but some other on another channel, a panelist was putting them up. He read out many of the things that the BJP has promised. But over there, air pollution, that it will control air pollution, was not one of the things, unless I'm mistaken. So we should hold the BJP now to the test of whether they can improve air pollution by the coming Rabi crop.
Interesting. Missing it, you know, it's always easier to be wiser after the event. This was a criticism that has been put out by Umar Abdullah, saying that, you know, Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are part of the India alliance. If they had fought together, perhaps they would have not been in the position that they are in today. Let me give you the vote share numbers at this moment. The BJP, according to the Election Commission of India's website, at this moment has managed to get 46.86% of the votes. Contrast that to the Aam Aadmi Party, which has got 43% of the votes, and the Congress, which has got about 6.36%. So if the Aam Aadmi Party and the INC, the Indian National Congress, had fought together, they would have gotten about 50% of the vote share. In hindsight, looking back, the fact that these two parties did not fight this election together, is this what has resulted in their undoing?
I think that the Congress party has indulged in magical thinking. It's above my pay grade to understand what the Congress party was thinking about when they did not, or maybe the Aam Aadmi Party didn't want to align, or the Congress party did not. But the Congress party has not exactly covered itself with any kind of political gain. I think that they have also dissipated the opportunity for revival. A message could have gone out from Delhi if they had gone from the earlier vote of 4% to something like 15%. The Congress, 15% and no seats, doesn't matter. But the people of Delhi, 1 in 7, voted for them, would be another a medal to take home to their table.
Right.
This hasn't happened. Now, but when you talk about the vote percentages that you just read out from the Election Commission, this has a lesson for the BJP, because you have said that the BJP's vote share just now is 46%.
Correct. 46.9%.
If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe your your office can do it just now. The studio that the BJP's vote share in the Lok Sabha elections. Am I mistaken that it was above 50%, maybe 50, up to 54%? Or 53%.
If my memory serves me right, you're right. The BJP's vote share in the Lok Sabha election was well over 50%. And this time around, it is down to 46.9%.
So I think that here BJP should also heed what the citizens of Delhi are saying, that they are giving 43% to the next rival party. You know, if only the Aam Aadmi Party had got 1.5% more and the BJP had got 1.5% less, they would be even in terms of vote share. And I've always maintained, Shivan, that vote share is actually an extremely important indicator of how the people are thinking.
Absolutely.
And what their aspirations are. If it was proportional representation, which in many countries where WION is seen, they do have proportional representation as their format for elections. Then, actually, at the moment, the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress would have seats on the government.
Absolutely.
And they would outnumber the BJP. So, therefore, the vote share, just to get back to this, the vote share is very important. You raise the question of should the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress have fought together. The Congress wanted not to die in the Delhi elections. So therefore, they
Ms. Singh, but
insist on
looking at the
fighting.
numbers that the Congress has managed to get election after election in the last 3 years, it's difficult to see as to how the Congress party can claim that they have not already died in this election, because quite honestly, zero is where the Congress stands at. That is what it was in 2020 and also in 2015. It's difficult to see as to how they can make a comeback, but we are completely out of time at this moment. We'll slip into a short break. Do continue to stay with us, Ms. Nalini Singh. We'll get more updates in terms of what is happening in the big Delhi elections, where the Bharatiya Janata Party seems to be storming back to victory. Arvind Kejriwal, the big story that is breaking at the moment. Arvind Kejriwal, the convener of the Aam Aadmi Party, has lost from his seat of New Delhi, and it cannot get worse than this for the Aam Aadmi Party, where the biggest of the faces have ended up either losing or are trading. We'll slip into a short break. More updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned to WION. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.